John Castillo, Battalion Chief 6.
All right, John, what do we have out here tonight, sir?
On arrival, we had a defensive operation. We had a single-story residential structure that was fully involved. Our fire crews initiated with a defensive operations. We did have some exposure problems on the Bravo side where the fire jumped to the Bravo exposure. So fire crews were trying to address those issues at the same time. We did have reports of victims trapped inside. At the time when we got here, we did have family that was living in a detached apartment in the back. The occupant did not make it. We did have a deceased occupant. She was transported to the medical examiner's office. We did have displaced occupants from the Bravo side exposure. The next door neighbors were displaced from the operation that took place here. And ultimately the fire was put out with, we had a total of 6 fire engines and 1 ladder out here to wrap this incident up. Right now, the fire investigators with our arson crew are out here still investigating, so the cause and the point of origin is still under investigation at this time.
And Chief, can you give us a little bit of detail on how you guys made it in to pull that woman out?
Well, that was some extenuating circumstances there. We had some, obviously when we got here with a fully involved fire with defensive operations, it gets a little sketchy there because you still got units arriving, reports of people trapped. It was always it's always a bigger deal than we'd like to deal with, especially at 2 o'clock in the morning. Once we start getting fires past midnight, we do have the idea that these are going to be fully working fires. It's a more consistent time frame with those kinds of things. And so yes, unfortunately the occupant was in the back of the home. Making entry into the home was very, very difficult. So it wasn't until after we were able to get a little bit of water on the fire that our fire crews were able to make entry to make that rescue from the patient. We did have medic officers and 2 medic units on scene that attempted to work the patient, but unfortunately the efforts were futile.
Okay. Would you call these firefighters courageous for going in there and doing
absolutely.
the job? Absolutely.
Anytime our fire crews are doing these kinds of scenarios, any structure fire, this working structure fires, they're very dangerous. When you have conditions that present with fully involved and you have exposures on defensive operations, those kinds of operations are always more difficult than being able to make entry into them initially from the get-go.
Perfect. And is there any way we can get an approximate age on your victim? Is she elderly or?
She's an elderly. I didn't get an actual age of the patient. No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. She would just. We can do that.